as such and such inch scale. So you can get it right in your head, it's inches to the foot. So if you've got a 6 inch to the foot engine, 6 inch scale, that's half size. Okay, this year we've got the owners and the makes and the models and the sizes here. We haven't got too much information. We'll pick up on one or two of them just to get a little bit more information on them, if they look at me in the right way. And that's, so the first one's 105 in your program, which is a 4-inch scale barrel STC road loco. This one was built 2022 and is owned by Mr. Humphrey. There we are. So there we are, that's a road locomotive. This is a type of engine that was built for transporting heavy loads. And the next engine in, number 108, is an agricultural engine. The most populous number of steam models are of the humble or not so humble agricultural engine. This is a Foster engine, 4-inch scale, so 4 inches to the foot, owned by Mr. Harvey Yarham. So that's an engine that would have been used for threshing, baling, wood sawing, anything on the belt, working from farm to farm. Now this one we've seen here before, I remember reading about this one before. This is George, this is a 4-inch barrel STC road engine, 6 horsepower, built 2017 and is driven by Carl Harvey. Okay, number 101, another one of these barrel road logos, a 4-inch scale, this one, built in 2022, owned and driven by Phil Roberts. And next one is a 4-inch scale Ruston and Proctor traction engine. This is what's called Helen. It was built in 1996 and is owned and driven by Peter Dobbin. Number 97 is a 4-inch barrel contractors type road loco known as the Mistress. This one is owned by Mr. Nick Howden, so another one of our road engines, towing an authentic load, a traction wagon and a living van, also in 4-inch scale. Next one is your 4-inch scale barrel. This is a DCC road loco. This one's called Sid and it's built 2019 and is owned and driven by Mike Turner. So number 117, and for a change, this one isn't a barrel, it's a McLaren, and McLaren engines were built in Leeds from the spare parts that Fowler's threw over the wall. So number 117 is known as Magic. It's a 4-inch scale McLaren road engine owned by Mr. Clive Randallson. Okay, next one is also a 4-inch scale Foster traction engine. It's an old partner, this one. This is half a ton, built 1991, and is owned and driven by Gary Edwards. So that's a William Foster engine. Fosters were built in Lincoln, which is where all good engines come from. And by contrast, number 57 is a Burrell, 6-inch scale, so half size. You can see it's a much bigger model than the one in front. This is owned by the Kitchen family, driven by Matthew, and it's a Burrell single-cylinder agricultural engine, so it uses the steam once before exhaust to get up the chimney. Yeah, there we got another half scale one here, 6-inch scale Burrell Devonshire traction engine. This one's called Fred, and it's built 1989, and it's owned and driven by Mark Warby. Hello! And that's a model of a Devonshire type engine. It's a single crank compound, so that uses the steam twice for greater efficiency, even in a Burrell. And they were built to be a smaller, powerful engine to work in Devon. That's followed by Mr. Ross Clark. This is the first of our steam wagons here, the forerunner of a modern lorry. Foden wagons are over-type wagons. You can see the engine over the boiler, like on a traction engine, with a chain drive down to the rear axle. Okay, next one here, number 65. This is a Frodden C-type wagon with a Coleman's busted livery, built 2014. It's owned and driven by Lee and Karen Fitzgerald. Very nice, that, like that. Thank you. Very smart. Of course, Coleman's mustard, something of a local institution over the years. This is followed by another 6-inch scale Burrell,
single crank compound, this one, which is owned by Mr. Dave Pierce.
Yeah, so number 99 is your 4-inch scale barrel road locomotive. This one's called Jack. This is 8 horsepower, built 2020, is owned and driven by Richard Peggs.
Yeah. So here's Mr. Sanders poking his fire, giving us a display of how it should be done. This is the Fowler showman's engine, built by the owner, the model of an open shore type showman's, hence the different shaped dynamo bracket on the front. So it's a lovely model there of a Fowler showman's.
Okay, so a bit different again. We've got 4.5-inch scale. This is the Foden steam bus. It's called Puffin Billy. This one was built 1997. It's owned and driven by Phil Barrett. Thank you.
And the original of that, the Foden bus, was built to transport the Foden Motor Works band, as it says on the back there. And I know I've missed the number on this one. Number 72, I think. 6-inch scale Garrett 4CD tractor Twilight, owned by Bert Boughton. And a steam tractor's not an agricultural machine, but a light haulage engine.
Okay, next one's a 6-inch scale Savage Little Samson steam tractor. This is Ryan Thomas. It's built 2020 and is owned and driven by Chris Webb.
Okay, so now we have another, I think, half-sized Foden wagon. This one's a very popular one, seen at lots of our events. This is Perry's Pride in Guinness livery, owned by Sarah Warby, or Sarah Smith we should say. So there we are, the Guinness wagon, very nice.
Okay, next one's a 4-inch scale barrel DCC road loco. This one's called the Persevere. This one was built 2019 and is owned and driven by Ray Cowles.
Number 89 in your programme is a 4.5-inch scale, so 4.5 inches to the foot. I do hope you're keeping up with this. This is the Foden C-type wagon Sands. It's a 6-wheeled wagon, driven today by Mr. Jack Flea, who's been busy with the Brasso. Possibly not on that wagon. Anyway, that's owned by Doug Flea and family, and Doug's helping organise the steam here this weekend.
Right, next one's a 6-inch scale Garrett 4CD steam tractor called the Wanderer. This is built 2008. It's owned and driven by Tom Breeds.
An interesting wagon coming in now, another half-size Foden, but this is a little bit different, fitted with a dynamo on the front. It's the type of engine that would have been used by a travelling showman. He'd have put his stools or his games, bits and pieces in the back, and he could have the wonderful new electric light powered by the dynamo on the front. And that one is owned and driven by Mr. Bruce Rice.
Number 64, a half-scale 6-inch barrel DCC road loco. It's called Sheila. 8 horsepower. Was built 2022 and is owned and driven by Mike Venn. Very shiny, that one in the sun here today.
So, number 124, a bit of an unusual engine, this one. This is a 3-inch scale LC Mason agricultural engine, so it's not a prototypical engine if you like. It's Freelance, it's running very well, known as Scallywag. That is owned by Mr. Chris Hazel.
Okay, next one's a 4.5-inch scale barrel traction engine. It's called Mary. This was built from 2001 to 2006 and is owned and driven by Glenn Burgess.
And this is followed by a Foster engine known as Alma. I can't read the number on the front of that one. It's got a few refinements on it though. It's fitted with motion covers. Road engines were fitted with those because there was a theory that the flashing link motion backwards and forwards could frighten any horses, which of course were on the roads at the same time as these engines.
A 63.5 scale 6-inch barrel road loco, Little Lou, built 2019, is owned and driven by David and Louisa Evanson. Another one looking very good here in the sunshine.
Another 121, another one of our Fowlers. This is the 3-inch scale Fowler B6 engine. It's a crane engine, although not carrying its crane jib at the moment, owned by Mr. Simon Stern.
Now I like the name of this one. This is a 4.5-inch scale barrel traction engine called Me Time. I hope that's done that for Me Time. It's brilliant. And it's built 2011. It's owned and driven by Peter Hibble.
Holly Rose is a 4-inch scale barrel single crank compound road locomotive. This one is owned by Dean Whitwell.
Next one up is a 4-inch barrel agricultural traction engine called Pamela. This is built...
The barrel is broken.
The barrel's broken, so tell us about this one.
This one was built in 2008. We had it for since new. But unfortunately the barrel's died, so we've had to bring this one open out of retirement instead.
Well, there we go. At least you're still here enjoying the weekend. That's brilliant. Thank you.
Well, there we are. Lovely little labelling tractor, that one. And a distinguishing feature of those is the cast wide-spoke wheels. You didn't see them on other manufacturers. It's followed by number 88, Mr. Mervyn Greaves, regular here at Strumpshaw. He's got a 4.5-inch scale Foden C-type lorry known as Annie.
Next one's 4.5-inch scale barrel traction engine. This is built 2011 and it's owned and driven by Stephen Dack.
So number 81 in your programme, another one of our half-size engines. This is a Savage steam tractor, Gavroche, owned by Mr. Nick Walmsley, driven today, or steered today by Mr. Jack Potter. Savages were based in Kings Lynn. They started out as agricultural engineers and then they quickly branched out into building fairground equipment, building rides such as the gallopers up in the fair today.
Okay, next one's 6-inch Ruston and Proctor and a co-agricultural engine called Henry. This was built 2011 and is owned and driven by Sam Baines.
And just a point of interest on that, of course, as we know, Ruston traction engines are the best. There is no parallel. Some things are nearly as good, but that is actually a perfect replica of the full-size 8-horse Ruston, which can be found in the museum here at Strumpshaw. So when you've looked at the model, go and see the full-size one inside the museum building. And this is followed by the 6-inch scale Auchin compound traction engine. This was built in 1995, owned by Mr. Matt Davenport. So Auchin were based in Northampton. There's not a vast number of their engines survive, but they're very highly thought of.
Now this one's a 4-inch scale Fowler BB1 plowing engine and it's owned and driven by Ian Day. I'll give you some idea how big the original is as well, because that's only a 4-inch scale model, that one. It's quite large.
That's it. And of course the ploughing engine, only half the story there because they worked in pairs using the big winch underneath to pull the plough backwards and forwards between them. This is followed by the 4-inch scale Foster agricultural engine, owned by Mr. Anthony Dillon.
Well, you're late, Henry. That means you've got to speak to us.
All right, yeah, that's Richard. We've got a 4-inch barrel traction engine built by Tom Brewster here somewhere today. We've been doing it a couple of years now. Good fun.
That's it, yeah. So never mind, you're still here enjoying the weekend with us. Thank you very much.
Number 60 here, a real heavy model, this one. It's not fair to call something like that a miniature, really, but it is half-size, 6-inch scale, barrel showman's road locomotive, owned by Mr. Bill Kiddle. He's a long-distance visitor here at Strumpshaw. He's the man I see at rallies with this model, possibly more than any other. And it is a beautiful replica of an 8-horsepower barrel showman's in the livery of R. Edwards, who was showman from Swindon.
Another 6-inch scale barrel Scenic showman's road locomotive here. This one's called the Wizard. This is built 2014 and is owned and driven by Peter Bowles.
There we are. Now, in contrast to the previous engine, that's a Scenic engine. So if you look behind the chimney, you can see there's a second dynamo. As roads got bigger and were electrically powered rather than having a centre engine, they needed more power, so they added a second dynamo. And that's followed by Mark and Sandra Bray with their Marshall. So I don't think we've had a Marshall in the arena yet. Marshall traction engines built in Gainsborough, very good thrashing engines.
Okay, we've got another barrel coming along here. I can't see his number either. He's going to tell us. He's got quite a load on the back as well, 2 trailers. Are you going to tell us about this one?
Certainly in Devonshire. This is a 4-inch Burrell Road loco. We was meant to be bringing a full size, but it didn't go to plan, so we ended up bringing a smaller model.
Once again, you're with us. Brilliant. Thanks very much. Another passenger added.
So something different now. Obviously, just like the full size, all the local popular makes are represented, but here's something a bit different. This is a Tasker. Tasker engines are built in Andover. This is a little giant Tasker tractor and named Joan.
Okay, coming next to a 4.5-inch scale food and C-type lorry. This is called Runswell 2. It's built 2010 and is owned and driven by David Etheridge. Thank you.
There we are, David, one of our stewards and helpers here looking after the miniature steam this weekend, followed by Roger Veneyes, 6-inch scale Foden. This is a short wheelbase estate tractor, so as well as the longer steam wagons you've seen several of, they also built a smaller engine like this, which was a great use for extracting and moving timber and other heavy loads. They were often fitted with a winch underneath on the back axle that could be paid out to either end for winching bits of tree about.
Okay, so they're coming in now is our 4-inch scale Burrell DCC Road locomotive. This is called Mary Road, and it's built 2015 and is owned and driven by Michael Hibble.
So there we've got a lovely lineup of miniature engines here this weekend for you all to look at. Do go and have a look at them. You'll see them dotted round and about the site or up in their area at the top.